what did that look like? Why did that spiral out of control? Why did that occur?
The extreme behaviours went from drinking, and then eventually it got to the point where I didn't want to be around anymore. So I had my whole body weight was there hanging.
Welcome back to the Awake and Aware podcast. Today we are bringing it back for number 5, which is super exciting. A lot of things have been going on recently, so it's absolutely awesome to be back in the studio and talking, in this space and channeling my passion in the direction of men, and how we can, curve the statistics, what's surrounding it. Today's guest is a pretty close friend of mine. Slade, mate, thanks for coming on today, brother. I know we've been in contact quite heavily the past few months, especially. You and I, we have a lot of common ground, and we share a lot of the same sort of gists, just in life as well. So thank you for coming on, mate.
Thanks for having me, bro. I really appreciate it.
Nah, man, it's good. I absolutely love seeing what you do. The way Australia is heading towards in the way of how the small minority of men are treating women is absolutely foul. And it's something what I wanted to touch on, and I feel like today was my calling to do so. And the suicide, it's nothing like it ever has been before. It's continuing to rise. And Slade, I know you do a lot of work in the male space, so I'd like to ask you, how is that going for you? What is some of the stuff that you get out of it, and what was your response to that statement?
That was deep, man. I just want to say that. To be honest, I haven't heard those words articulated from somebody else in a way that I actually understand. So it was like a mirror shown to me. So I really appreciate that.
That's all good, brother.
And being in the space, I've been in self-development around a men's group for like 2 or 3 years almost, and deep in it. The biggest thing I've seen with guys is that they struggle to take responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm talking about, I was the youngest in their men's group. So everybody that I've been around for the last 3 years is like 35, 40 plus. And they still struggle with that. When I see men taking responsibility for themselves, that then leads on to every aspect of their life. And that's where the biggest change is.
Yeah.
If a man can do nothing else except just take full responsibility for his life, it's not selfish. Not at all. It's the most selfless thing anybody can fucking do, man. And when I get to support guys with that through facilitation, we've got masterminds every Monday. We've got retreats every 3 months. Getting to support guys in that, that's when it pops.
Yeah, man. Responsibility is massive, and I know I can say for myself, and I know you could be able to agree, the moment we started to make a change is when we started to take responsibility, whether it be through what we're doing on a daily basis, whether it's healthy, unhealthy, whether the thoughts we talk to ourselves about are, positive or negative. Once you start to take responsibility for the way you look at yourself, the way you answer to yourself, the way you treat other people, that's when you really start to notice the developing foundation of a changed man. And I know, we can always go back to it, but the response, that's literally the core foundation. And what was your moment of responsibility taken that you started to make a change in the direction of self-development?
It was realising that I didn't have it all figured out and something was missing. And this was in 2020 on the back end of going through struggles, and we will touch on that. But the realisation was that I felt alone after high school. It's like I did all my drinking before 18. I did all my partying before 18. And now there's people discovering alcohol and discovering partying, and it's like, what's going on? I felt like an outlier. And then through a Facebook ad, man, for a one-day event is where I came across men's work.
Yeah, sick.
And I thought, sweet, I'll jump in and see what it's all about. And taking responsibility was like, hey, I want to do something for me. And I like it. If we break down the word responsibility, it's just the ability to respond. So if we look at, you can either react to something or you can respond to something. I can react, that comes from emotions. As a man, if we operate in emotions and make decisions out of emotions, it's not by our design, if that makes sense. That's, in my opinion, a woman's section. So for me, taking responsibility was just me responding to what I needed and not emotionally reacting, oh, my life fucking shit, I'm struggling, oh, what do I do with myself, I'm going to drink and try and escape.
What was, when you say you were taking responsibility of your emotions, were they negative emotions?
Yeah, they were negative emotions.
What was surrounding that?
It was abandonment. We're going to go deep here.
Let's go, brother.
But it was abandonment, man. And to give you a bit of a storyline, my parents split when I was 12. And, well, first of all, I was born in South Africa. And we moved over in like 2008. So I was like 6 or 7. And going back and seeing how easy we've got in Australia, man, and seeing how the rest of my family and everybody else operates in South Africa. It's like, oh, I've got so much. And then my parents splitting at 12, realising I kind of forgot about that, how easy I got it. And yeah, just Dad ended up trying to find his place in the world. Mum, she's been a really strong figure, but hasn't been very feminine. So it was hard to, felt like I was loved. And with Dad going and doing his thing and trying to find his place in the world, I felt abandoned in that. And that led me to being fully independent. It was like, cool, I don't have a figure.
Growing up, did you have any sort of figure what was showing you that love, what you deserved? Or was it always, there was always a sense of, dad's being dad, that's horrible to say, but dads being dads, and typically, especially with our parents still being in the, the older generation with their parents bringing them up, we don't really typically see the love what we deserve from a father, especially in our generation. Whereas I think comparatively to the fathers in our generation, when our mates are, they're going to be bringing up their child a lot differently. So when you were growing up, did you think that you never had that connection, that emotional, spiritual, physical connection with your father growing up? Or was it always, your mum was sort of a bit hard?
It was a place of lack with Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I relate to that, dude. It's something that with my dad, he did the best he could with what he knew. And I think when I reflect onto my own upbringing with Dad, like today he's my best mate. But for that connection and relationship to allow to come to fruition, I had to accept a lot of things. And I had to accept the fact that he knew what only he knew. He didn't see what I deserved because he wasn't taught that. He didn't have that capacity at all during his upbringing because of, his dad was a bit of a hard ass too, right? And so I had to accept the fact that he didn't have the skills or, the capacity to love me the way what I deserved. So in terms of the lack of love, I absolutely can relate. And I think it's not a problem, but a lot of people our age can relate on that. Do you think there is going to be a curve in the way that our younger generation are brought up in a positive or negative way?
Only if the young adults can make a change. The young adult males actually take some responsibility and make a change. Yeah. That's the only way it'll change. Mm-hmm. And it starts with something like this. It's creating awareness. It's young males supporting young males.
Yeah, that's what we're all trying to achieve, especially the community I keep is channeling that. It's channeling all that stuff, and I know even for you it is as well. And, when taking it back a step a little bit, when you were coming through high school and, when you were managing your lack of feeling of, you know, love from your parents. What were you masking that with on the back end of high school? You know, you said you were partying, you did all your partying for 18. What did that look like? Why did that spiral out of control? Why did that occur?
It was, I mentioned before, a form of escapism. So that was the alcohol. And it was extreme. So the extreme behaviours were, let's go out and drink, but I'm going to sing 10 Summersby's before I go out through a beer bong, doing a fucking handstand.
Yeah.
And then it's time to go out.
Yeah.
And then it turned into, oh, I'm escaping. Well, why am I escaping? So, like, I'm pretty intellectual. So I would just keep asking myself why. And it led to, I don't really know my place anywhere. Like, I feel like an outlier. Okay, well, then what does that mean? Okay, well, then it means that I'm not accepted in spaces. And I couldn't figure out where I fit in anywhere. And it just got to the point where it's like, okay, well, I'm not accepted anywhere. I don't want to be here. And it was too much effort it was lonely to try and create my own space. So I became my own best friend doing the things that I wanted to do. I'd travel, like I'd have my P's and I'd just drive. Like, cool, I want to go see some cool shit. But it was, it just went back to a form of escapism.
Do you think you were trying to fit in, so that's why you were distracting yourself? Because I know when I was going through my spiral from, 15, I felt like I can understand the feeling of being an outcast. So that's why I tried to do the things what everyone else is doing, so I could fit in to do the thing with the people who were doing the thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's that, when it comes to Thursday or Friday afternoon after, a week of school, you're like, oh, what can I do? But you got no one who wants to do the stuff you want to do, so you try and make excuses, and you do the thing what other people are doing because you want to fit in. And I know I spent a lot of my years doing that, and the way you spiral out of control is massive. But it's not always just drinking. The drinking leads to something else, and is that something you've experienced?
Yeah, definitely. So the extreme behaviours went from drinking, and then eventually it got to the point where I didn't want to be around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it made sense, instead of trying to escape, I can just leave completely. Fix that. It doesn't have to be a temporary problem. I can make something permanent, is where my head was at. And it got to the point where I was basically self-harming. That was my new addiction. It wasn't alcohol. Sitting on the shower floor, just slicing myself up. And it was, I didn't understand the pain in my mind, what I was thinking or how I was feeling. But when there was a physical pain and I could see where it was coming from and the blood going down the fucking drain, that made sense, and I could articulate that pain. So that was a mirror of what I was thinking and going through. And that was going on for months and months. And it got to the point towards the back end of that where I thought, hey, this is it. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. This is just stupid. I'm drinking myself silly. I'm slicing myself up. And, like, what do I want? Do I want some fucking attention? Like, that's how I responded to that. And then I thought, hey, I'll continue drinking. And I thought, I'm done. Like, let's just get it over and done with. Don't half-ass it, Slade. And it was the 5th of December, 2020, 2 days after my birthday. I was drinking Wild Turkey, the one that tastes like honey, because that went down better. I was plastered. Nobody knew what was going on. And Christmas time was coming up and everybody getting ready to have family time, but I didn't feel like I fit in with my family. And I decided this is it. And we've got a 5-acre property with a small dam down the bottom of it. And I went down there and found a piece of rope. And I put it onto a tree. And I was like, cool, let's make this happen. So I tied it around my neck and hung myself. And I was so drunk that nothing made sense. It didn't make sense at all. Yeah. But I knew it was wrong. There's something that told me like this can't be it. Like, so I had my whole body weight was there hanging, and I pulled myself out of it. And it was like I saw death in the face. I can't explain it. I felt it. It was ripping me apart. And I got out and continued drinking. By that time it was 11:50 or 10:58, and called a girl that I was kind of seeing, took an Uber there, and just shared the shit. It didn't make sense to anybody, and nothing made sense in that time. And yeah, it was a blur for weeks after that.
Fuck. Man, that's super heavy going. When you were self-harming for those months, did anyone notice?
Mum did notice.
What was her reaction?
She was worried, and I said it was nothing. She, because of the way she's been brought up, and she was a journalist in South Africa, so she saw everything. Mm-hmm. She's strong. She didn't know how to emotionally understand what was going on. And it was during winter, so I'd just rug up. And I didn't want to be seen in that at all.
Yeah. Fuck, mate. That's heavy. Now those the moments after you attempted your own suicide, the weeks leading after that, what was the surrounding thoughts? What was the next step? What did you come to terms with it? Did you accept it? Did you want to change? Did you want to get better?
I didn't want to get better. I knew I had to. And yeah, I didn't want to get better. It was comfortable being a sad sack. It was comfortable just dwelling and feeling sorry for myself. It was so fucking comfortable. Nobody understood it, so I didn't have to explain it to anybody. It was easier to just sit in it. And to be honest, man, like that wasn't it. I continued drinking, I continued partying, I put a smile on my face, and nobody knew shit except that one girl that I saw. And it was I continued playing the character that everybody knew.
Were you putting a mask on, do you think?
Yeah.
What was that mask? What did it look like?
Fun-loving, outgoing, nice guy. He's got it all his shit sorted. He's working a job that pays decent. He's the life of the party and can drink a lot more than anybody else. Mm. So no boundaries. Like, I look at myself now. It was weak. It was sad. He was struggling, and that was my expression of depression. And if we break down the word depressed, the word this is from Jim Carrey. He speaks on this. I was playing a character that needed to go into deep rest because he was tired. He was being inauthentic. He was struggling and suffering. So that was I'd have massive highs with the drinking and then crash and just fucking go into a deep rest because I was just tired of that weight of that mask trying to play that person.
Yeah, that mask is something what I think we have all experienced in the way, trying to shy away from the fact that we're struggling. I know I've done it. I've put that mask on, I've gone out, done the same sort of stuff, but in my own head I'm battling, and it comes back to you just don't want to be there. So you try and, put a mask on, and in the mask, it's so real. My really close mate, Stuart Murray, when he took his own life 2017. He was that fun-loving, energetic ball of fun. He was, everyone's comfort zone, and that's the most dangerous place. Sometimes the darkest people, the darkest signs is a happy face. And I think I take importance in that, and when I notice one of my friends who's acting really, really happy, I'm always going to ask, hey bro, you alright? Like, and because I think I understand that, and I've been there, so I understand the thoughts, I see them, I hear ya. When did you think you were starting to make a shift in your mask wearing? When did you start to come to the realization that it's time to pull it off and it's time to do some work?
When so much happened between that suicide and then making the change.
What happened in between then? Same sort of stuff in months?
No, I ended up attempting multiple times after that. During relationships, and relied on a woman to be my, well, here we go, be my therapist, be my prostitute, be my mother, be my fucking support, be my everything, all of that. And not taking responsibility. So for a while I prioritized making woman a project that I could work on, because I didn't want to work on me.
That's deep.
I could see the flaws in something else so much easier than the person in the mirror. Which made more sense at the time. So I prioritized that and relationships and sleeping around and gaining fulfillment from them. And it got to the point where I was hurting a lot of people unintentionally and blamed it on them. But the common thing amongst all of that was just the person in the mirror. It was me. And I realized, like, I need to go ghost. Nobody understands me. I don't even understand me. Like, I need to do something. And that turned into moving out and working in the mines during COVID and rolling in cash. Still struggled with alcohol and stuff like that, but I could piece some things together. It got easier. And coming out of that and kind of bouncing around and just learning new things. Like, cool, how do I operate in a different job, in a different place, and changing my environment a lot. That really, really helped. And then finding the men's group and showing up and just going all in. The next project wasn't a woman, it was me.
That's a deep realization, hey?
Yeah.
I think the heal people, hurt people. And I have been in a space in my life where that has been such reality, where I was so broken inside, I so insecure. I didn't, like you said, you don't even recognize yourself when you look in the mirror. A lot of that came from drug addiction and cocaine use, and I really hated myself the most when I was so deep in that. And it's, you're trying to fight something with something else because you can't have it in yourself. So you go down the path of, you look for anything and you will grab anything, whether it be a woman, whether it be a beer, a drink, a drug, even someone else's happiness. I think that's the most dangerous kind of man, is when you're extracting so much out of someone else's cup to benefit you, but you don't use it in a healthy way. And the profound realization of that in a man is, like you said, that responsibility, and it's something it's not spoken about enough, man. And when you were in the FIFO field, do do you think you're using the hard work and those days to sort of band-aid your emotion? You're putting so much effort into something else. When did you come to the point of you had to realise that, you know, the mines wasn't for you?
I spent 3 months down south, and it was all contract work. So I wasn't in the pits or anything, bouncing around from... My accommodation was a motel above a pub. Huh. So it was pokies, it was alcohol, and yeah, it was a party for me. The realisation was realising that I made 36 grand in 6 months, came home with 8. The rest was, like, I loved cigarettes, the Port Royals. Fucking amazing, bro. $120 a gram, $120 per pouch. So it was like very expensive habits, trying to live the high life. And it went right back to escaping and not taking responsibility for the thing that I wanted to do. Hey? So coming out of that, it's like, cool, I want the freedom. Learning what my values were. Like, what do I actually value? And what I've learned, that you've got the extrinsic values and then intrinsic. So what do I value that I've learned throughout my life, and what do I value, like, in the core of who I am? Realising, cool, I want freedom. I don't really want to be tied down to a job, and I also don't want to be trying to escape from all of these different things in life. And then trying to figure out what aligns with me better. Yeah.
What was the realisation of what aligns with you?
That I thrive off... One of the realizations was thriving off quality people, and I needed that. I can't lone wolf it at all, man.
How did you find those connections and the quality people around you? Because I can imagine you had so much negativity around you that a quality person was hard to come by. So what was the steps you took to ensure that you were surrounded by healthy, happy people?
It was a men's group. That was the foundation, and it was all online connection. So it was a stepping stone towards the physical, more of the physical connection, but having phone calls every single week where we can either we can talk shit, we can understand what's going on, we can level up, and honestly, man, investing in myself. I think I probably spent maybe 10 to 20K just on courses and just how to improve my life, and that was necessary to make the change. And it got easier hanging around with quality people and changing the environment often. Yeah.
That's profound, hey, because I find I vibe better when I'm with the quality people who I know who are quality. And that doesn't say I don't love the people who are around me who still have some unhealthy habits what I don't align with. But it's the connection you have with people who truly do align with you what really fire you up and what really make you want to do better and push better. Because how can you level up with someone who still does the stuff you were doing back in the day, who doesn't have any sort of comprehension of wanting to develop himself as a human?
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, it's funny. I was 5 months completely sober, clean and sober, and I got comfortable, and I went back to, you know, I fell back into the pit what I fought so hard to get out of, and that's out of no wrongdoing of my own. I'll take full responsibility for that. I let myself fall back into the pit. I let myself, you know, go out drinking, go out partying, or everything else that flows with that. And I just wasn't happy. I wasn't vibing. And like, I think and I compare it to when I was 5 months completely sober. I was so happy. I was motivated. I was disciplined. I was putting action to everything. I was consistent. And then the second I let myself down or let myself fall back into the place of what I fought so hard to get out of, I noticed my mood was unhappy. I was attracting negative people. I was putting myself in positions where it got me hurt. And yeah, I had to take responsibility for everything.
Yeah.
So no one else's wrongdoings of my own. I let myself down, and I'm now at a point where the future is so limitless, man, and I can see it so clearly. And you know, it's a big reason why I had 2 or 3 months off podcasting, and so why I wasn't advocating as much as I would, because I honestly felt like a bit of a fraud. You know, I was doing all these things. I was, you know, advocating for, you know, for healthy minds, and I was portraying this image that was my embodiment. But they're not seeing me, you know, snorting 8 ball of coke on the weekend, you know, and it was like that balance, and it was so imbalanced, you know, and I felt like I couldn't serve my community as the best I could, because I didn't align with it anymore. I was out of alignment with my own alignment, and the level of the responsibility you have to take in order to take action in life is something what a lot of people, they will never grasp, because they don't even want to take responsibility. They don't want to take responsibility for the conversations they have. They don't want to take responsibility for ensuring that the people around them are making the right choices, creating good actions, not assaulting women, not, you know, telling other men they're pieces of shit, or you're a fucking dog cunt, you know? Like, that is the foundation of what embodies a man. And, you know, I think it has a lot to play with, you know, your friend group, your friendship group. And I know now, coming out of my relapse, you could say, the next bit of future, it's like I'm putting all the actions in place to ensure that I'm around good, healthy people, and, you know, the people who I know is going to serve me purpose and to fill me and to, you know, motivate me to be a better man. And I can imagine for you, your community is awesome. I know I see it online. Are you still in contact with anyone who you, at the time you were partying with, before you were lone wolfing it? Do you still communicate with any of them people?
One person. Everybody else just dropped like flies, man. As soon as I started making changes, then the phone call stopped, and it was that lonely stage. And the one person that I still keep in contact with, we were running fucking vapes of all things around Brisbane, making heaps of cash. But we have both grown so much, and we're both on a similar wavelength. So having him understand where I'm at, and he's like, yeah, I love what you do, man. We still, our lives don't fully align, but he's supportive. But out of maybe 50 people, 20 people that I was really tight with, nothing.
It's crazy, hey. I know I don't hear from 90% of the people who I were friends with, partied with, till I'm on a session. When I wasn't, until I was, you know, still sessioning. And it's, you know, they don't check in, you don't check in with them either, and it's that you just don't align. You know, you aren't on each other's wavelengths. But the second you tap back into that, the old version of you, you know, you have this great communication, because you're so high that, you know, it's the level of the frequency you're vibing at is artificial, because you're either on the rack or you're drinking. Yeah. And so I can really appreciate the fact that you know, you still have a support network behind that. Do you think there's a level of admiration from the other party towards you for what you've been doing and how far you've come?
I'd like to think so. And I think there's also there might be some jealousy there. And to be honest, man, like, I wish them the best. It's hard to figure out how they would be thinking or feeling about it all. But if they can just take something from what I share online, I'm happy, man. Like, just take something positive, whether it's a quote, whether it's something I said, whether it's me over in Bali, because I've gotten that far with business. Awesome. I think if I can improve somebody's perspective, not their life, just their perspective on life, I've done my job.
Brother, I relate with that so much. I always tell myself, you know, if one person is impacted by the stuff I do, I can die a happy man. But I don't want to stop at one person. I want to run that ball up, man. And, you know, the the feeling I get of accomplishment and pride within myself when I get a message from someone being like, Lockie, like, thank you so much for sharing this. You've honestly helped me. Like, that feeling is like nothing you can't explain it.
Money can't buy that, bro.
You can't buy it, man. And it's funny on that money topic. There was a point of my life when I was over in Canada doing FIFO. I was doing FIFO work, rolling in the fucking money. Yeah. But I was the most miserable I was ever been. Do you find that as well?
I found I need meaning, not money.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, putting a why and an intention behind why I'm doing things.
What is your why?
I need to make impact in the world that's positive, that creates fulfillment within myself. To, honestly, man, to help people understand that life is really fucking limitless. Like, we've got absolutely everything in Australia, bro. The worst thing in Australia that I believe that can physically happen to somebody, they could lose their job, lose their family, everybody falls away behind them, the government still got you and you're on Centrelink. If somebody decides to take some drugs and make that worse for themselves, that's their responsibility. But, like, we have it all, bro. We're good.
Yeah, we're good, and that's really, when I was living in Canada, in Vancouver especially, the crack epidemic there, something like you've never seen, man. You're literally walking in the main CBD and there's groups of 10 homeless people smoking a crack pipe, and you can't not see it. There's people hunched over, there's people, screaming in the middle of the road. And Canada, for being a country, what's, almost in the same length as Australia in terms of resources, economy, I guess, peace. For a country like that, that's where I think Australia does level it up as well. And do you think, what have you seen deeply in yourself since you've made a transition from the party lifestyle?
So much more fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's genuinely
life's
exciting.
Fun, man. Life is so much fucking fun, dude. It really is what you make it,
Yeah. Bro, when I realise that I'm not held back by fucking the bottle or pretty much just instant gratification, and I can be like, hey, I like that thing over there. Like, man, I'm going to Bali on a one-way ticket on fucking Tuesday next week. Like, that excites the fuck out of me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
And it's more exciting because I've earned it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, do a hard thing, I get a result. I'm super outcome focused, man. So it's like, do a hard thing, outcome, fuck yeah, I did it.
How did you get to that? How did you get in the position where you could buy a one-way ticket to Bali and sort of not look back?
To be honest, man, I give a lot of the credit to the men's group that I was a part of. So I do content creation and social media management for them. And that opportunity came up because I just kept showing up. I was facilitating for probably 6 months completely for free, attending their retreats as crew completely for free. And yeah, we cut a deal where that's part of my income. And like, I get to literally, I am the creation of their face of how they impact the world. That's all my work. That is, in theory, I'm part of the impact of millions of people. And that to me is really fulfilling, man. And I've got clients that I coach, so I'm helping somebody who's 19 fucking love his energy, bro, and he's now becoming a coach. He wants to become a coach and build his personal brand. And then I've got a VIP client that I've been working with who's in FIFO, and he's shifted so much, man. That was insane.
Yeah, see.
So, going back to the money aspect, man, this is the only reason why we're here is because of money. And
this stuff isn't cheap.
No, definitely not, man. But I believe that if there's more meaning behind why we want to make money, it then attracts more money.
it's the manifestation, right? And every cent I earn goes in. Right now, in this phase of my life, I'm reinvesting absolutely everything I earn into myself, into this space, the things I've got coming up in the near future. It's all because it makes me fulfilled, and I genuinely want to help people, man. I want to fucking change the world, dude.
Yeah.
And you just gotta reinvest into yourself. And I think you hear a lot of the successful people, they're always talking about invest. It doesn't have to be into stocks. It has to be into yourself at the end of the day as well. And do you find do you work more on yourself than you do at work, or do you work more on the work than yourself?
Well, now because work is purposeful, I don't even have a name for it just yet. It's not work. But before, 100% I put more of my energy into myself, working on myself harder than I worked on my job, because that's the one asset that is promised for the rest of my life. It's guaranteed. This is me. Nobody else. Nothing. Not the cars, not the house, nothing. So if I can be the most valuable asset in my life, that makes more sense than the fucking clothes or the house or the stuff I've got. And it's more fun, because if I work on me, then it changes my perspective. So then I'm not looking at the flashy car, because I don't care about that. Maybe I'm looking at, instead of spending 50K on a car, I can go make 50K and help 50 people. Like, happy days. Yeah, man.
What do you think is the most valuable thing in your life right now?
It's got to be me, because I am the creator of it.
Do you think your lessons have been your greatest asset? Or now, as you reflect in the present, do you think everything you've been through has been your greatest asset to become the person you are now?
100%. I needed that pain, bro. I like to look at it like we can turn our pain into purpose. We can then impact people. We can, like, it's all there for some crazy fucking reason. When I was in the hole, man, I didn't know what it was there for.
Yeah.
But there's always a message in the mess, bro.
There's always a message in the mess. Yeah, dude. Yeah, fuck yeah, I can relate. It's like the I'll always say it, and when we reflect in the present, in hindsight, that's where you realize all the lessons. It's like, that happened for that. And I wouldn't be the person I am now if I didn't have that rough patch the past few months. I wouldn't be the person I'm now if I didn't go through some of the shit I did growing up, or did I go through addictions, alcoholism.
I'm curious, man, with that rough stage, what made you fall in there? What was that trigger?
Comfortability, contentment. It was, you know what it was? I justified the action because everybody else was doing it.
Did that show up as like a form of loneliness? Or?
Yeah, I'd say, because the past, the 5 months when I was stone cold sober, I was training. That's all I ever did. I wasn't present with my thoughts. I wasn't present with my emotions, because all I did was train. I'd wake up, go for a run, wake up, go swimming, wake up, go riding. Twice a day, 5 hours a day, working 9 hours a day. I was creating the space, but I wasn't fully in the moment. I wasn't fully in the space to where I am now. And it's funny, I think the pivot point where I allowed myself to justify the action of letting my hair down, just a few beers, let my hair down, bang, I'm on the session 4 weekends in a row. It was that one moment what led to that, but it was actually, I got injured after my last race. My patellofemoral joint on my knee, I was on a training ride with my bunch, and I just felt something rip in my knee. So I was just trying to play it off. And then, the weeks of me not being able to train, I didn't know who I was. I lost myself, completely honest. I think I put my identity into triathlon. Who am I if I'm not a triathlete? Who am I if I can't run or can't race or can't train? I completely lost myself in that moment, and that's what led me to. I had so much spare time, so like, oh yeah, I can just have a few beers. I'm not racing anymore. Rah rah, bang. It was straight back to the addictive stage. I was craving that again. I was justifying it all. So I think that was the action it took.
And what was the message that you learnt throughout that experience?
Maybe triathlon isn't everything my life is meant to be.
And then what do you see yourself as if the identity is not triathlon and being an athlete?
Podcaster, someone who wants to help, someone who works on himself more than anything else. I think I have this theory about my injury, and I think because I was going at such a rate, at such a fast pace, the universe forced me to slow down, and the universe forced me to be in a position where I had to go back into those old habits for me to come out the other end and realise maybe my identity isn't in triathlon. And for the most part, it took a long time to accept it. I think, I dreamt about triathlon. I had dreams of winning races. I could see it so clearly, and then when it was taken away from me, I just couldn't handle it. Yeah. I was in such a spiral that it led to, me being comfortable with going back on the thing what I said I was never going to do again. Yeah. So not only did I do a disservice to myself, I also had to learn the fucking hard way, and it made me realise that my life isn't just triathlon. It isn't just running. It isn't just all these things. And now that I've had to come out of the side of it, I can see the lesson so much. And going through that, I had a bit of a period where I put myself in a position where I experimented going back into the dating scene, which fucked me up big time. Probably won't go too deep into that, just out of respect. But yeah, I got back into dating and it fucked me up. So not really fucked me up, but I've learned from it.
What does fuck me up? Like, what does that mean?
I lowered my self-worth to not want to say at their level, because I'm not on top of everyone, of anyone for that fact. But I lowered my vibration to match theirs, and that costed me a little bit of the filling up of my own cup, because I've had to work on myself since then to be able to fill my own cup up again. And that's where I am here today. I'm sweet. I'm back on my shit, man. And so it's like the contrast and the polarity of, you really have to fuck up to see the lessons on the other side of that. It's exponential, and it's what has to happen, But I strongly believe that if I didn't get injured, and if I didn't have that wake up call, if I didn't go back to that dark place I fought so hard to get out of, will I still be putting all my energy into something what potentially isn't going to be my lifelong career? And I truly believe that this space, what I'm in now, it's for me, like sitting here talking to you, talking to the people, really trying to move the message. This gives me more fulfillment than training for 30 hours a week whilst working full time. Yeah. So I think the universe has such little, messages inside the mess. What is so profound, but you won't realise it until you go through it.
100%, man. There's a saying I learnt from one of my mentors, and he says, there's three bad things that will be sent your way. The third one will fuck you up. So you get a feather and it just gets thrown at you, and it might just tickle a little bit. It's like, oh, that doesn't feel right. Or I don't feel comfortable in a certain environment. It's the feather. It doesn't really mean much. And then you got a brick. The universe will throw a brick at you and it'll hurt a little bit, and you're pretty aware of it, but it's okay. Like, I'm strong enough to deal with that brick. And if we don't listen to the brick, then a fucking semi-truck comes and just smacks me in the face. And then that will show up, like for you, it showed up to the relapse time. For me, it's shown up as just fucking deep depression. I don't want to talk to anybody. If we can be aware of that feather and see where that feather wants to take us and listen to that to a point, that will reduce, well, you'll never get a semi-truck hit you.
It comes in threes.
Yeah.
And like that literally happened to me. It was the injury.
Yeah.
It was the relapse. Guess you could say the heartbreak.
Yeah.
So, and that correlates to so many different things, right? And it's crazy. Like and then once, when I was in the moments of disparity, when I was in the moments of I'm so jacked up, you know, there was a period, yeah, I'd say I was pretty depressed about it. I was, you know, anxious about it all. And I remember saying to one of my best mates, I was like, dude, give me 3 months. I'm going to tell you that the fucking greatest thing would ever happened to me. And even now, you know, a couple months on, I'm going to sit here and say those 3 things, what happened to me was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because I'm the person who I am in this moment, and I'm a better person for it. I'm a better person than who I was at the end of my 5 months sober when I decided to have the beer. I'm the better person when I was even 5 months sober doing all the training, because I'm emotionally aware, more so than ever now. Mm-hmm. And I think the strongest attribute a male can have is emotional regulation. And knowing that you can regulate your emotions through your thoughts, your feelings, through anything about your conscious soul, that is got to be one of the most strongest attributes a man can have. And I think a lot of more men need to do it. Mm. But a lot of men aren't willing to take the responsibility of their own wrongdoings. Because once it comes to that, then you have the realization that, you know, your emotional well-being needs to be regulated. Mm. That's what turns out men. That's what brings out the anger in men, the frustration, the manipulative, narcissistic, misogynistic, derogative, dirtbag males in the society who are, unfortunately, creating a rap for the good guys who are emotionally regulated. You know, they have their feelings on top. They don't carry baggage. They aren't insecure. They have all their shit worked out emotionally and spiritually.
Yeah, definitely. I think this might get a bit controversial, but I think every man deep within himself has the urges to rape, to kill, to fucking do really bad things to society. I believe every single man has that within them somewhere, but it's where he puts that energy. You know that power? I could fucking kill you right now. I could go write people off in the city. I could do all that. I have the power. Every single man, I believe, has that power. But there is a small amount of people, well, there is an amount of people who will do and listen to that part of them. If you're lifting heavy shit in the gym, you're pushing through adversity, you're being resilient within business, your triathlon, doing hard things, that is that same energy that has the potential to kill, if that makes sense. And I think what men suppress that and drink it away and don't release it in a healthy way, and it can turn into the negative impact of the world. You see where I'm going from?
I know what you're saying, but I'm going to... You said it was controversial. Definitely is. I'm going to sit here and say confidently, and I have never had the thought of wanting to inflict pain like that on a female. Yeah. I think if you're someone who has the thoughts of raping or assaulting a female in a way that can turn out, it all falls under the same umbrella. I think if you have the thought of raping a woman, you need help.
Yeah.
I think if you have, like, it's just basic female, you know, just basic morals, sorry. I would never look at a female and say, fuck yeah, I'm going to take her behind this, or, you know, I'm going to put her into a position where she is restraining or, you know, inflicting rape. I strongly believe that if a man has those thoughts, that they need serious help, which I don't have the answers for that. I can't help a man who has ideologies or the feeling or the want to inflict that level of pain on a woman.
Yeah.
I think for me in that regard, being brought up with mostly a single mother, 2 sisters, I witnessed the emotional damage what was inflicted onto my mother through being cheated on. So I think I can confidently sit here and say that seeing her go through that pain and struggles has instilled something inside me that I just do not have the capacity to think about doing a female wrongly.
Yeah.
I have the utmost respect for them. I have so much love and support for them. Right, they're women, they're our nurturers, they're our baby givers. They can provide such love and support and can really help you become a better person if you find the right run. Now, needless to say, I understand there's women who are not like that. There are women who rape males. There are women who abuse males, who assault males, who it's like a double-edged sword. And I know there's women who, you know, they can do to men what men can do to them. And that's where I would sit with that. I think if you're a man who has a desire to rape, sexual assault, domestic violence, I think you need fucking help.
I think it goes back to the hurt. There's hurt people will hurt people.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen my perspective, seeing death in the face, and that's the lowest I could get. Realizing how much pain that I had has helped me become more aware of the people who are inflicting harm on others. I believe I've got the awareness to just understand that they are hurt. And then I have love for them because I want to help them. It's not me saying that I love what they do. It's saying, hey, you're fucked up. And I know you're fucked up because I've been fucked up. Let's work on this because we don't want to have it externalized. So the aspect of these men, I don't believe that it's wrong to have the bad thoughts about killing yourself, or I don't want to be around, or I want to murder people, I want to do bad things. It's, to be honest, vocalizing that to a male who can understand and articulate it and then do good with that. I think it's, if we aren't aware that men, if we aren't aware that of the men that are struggling aren't aware of what they're actually doing, because there'll be so many women out there who are getting really badly treated, and the man's just like, oh, that's just how I treat my partner.
There is,
Yeah.
and yeah, hurt people, and one of the most dangerous kind of man is someone who can't regulate their emotions. What we see most commonly is when women are raped or sexually assaulted. Normally it's from a mental health disease such as schizophrenia or psychosis or whatever. Just like that dirtbag who ran through Bondi Mall. They were all suffering some sort of mental health issue. And I think that's where, you know, we can also be aware of that and we can control that, right? There's avenues out there what provide, a safety net for men who are going through that. I'm not a doctor, so I can't go too deep onto that subject. But I think, it comes back to emotional regulation in all forms. And that's something what I think, I've said it a few times today, but if a man can regulate his emotions, it's the most strongest attribute to your conscious.
Spot on. Men, if we look at by design, I think men they don't operate from their emotions like by design. It's kind of like, I want that thing. Or back in the day, you'd just be like, cool, I'm hungry, I'm going to go hunt an animal and I'm going to kill it and I'm going to eat it. Mm-hmm. There's not an emotional aspect. But as we have evolved, I believe that we've realised, there's these things that are emotions. So working with other men to learn how to regulate our emotions with other men, not getting help from a woman to learn how my emotions work, because we're on different wavelengths.
Yeah, I don't believe a female can assist males in the development of their regulation of feelings and thoughts and emotions. That is all internal on the male's end. You can never change a man. A man can only change for himself. Mm-hmm. And I think a sad part, some women go into things with males who are clearly don't have the ability to regulate their emotions, or they don't have the ability to know what's right from wrong. They go into relationships with that male thinking they can change it. That's where you see a lot of domestic violence. It's where you see a lot of really nasty stuff happen to females. And for the most part, they're really good girls. They just took the wrong one. Yeah. And, even I know some people who have gone into something with a man who shows parts of him that isn't regulated or anything. And it's sad because it sort of comes back to, some females don't really know their worth. They, like I have done in my past, lower their wavelength to meet someone else's because they're trying to fill a void of loneliness. Yeah. And that's where I think my biggest lessons have been this year, even being lonely, so you let yourself down, sort of sifting from someone else's cup. Yeah. And it's the most brutal way of emotional destruction. Yeah, I can say when I had my little experience, I was a bit lonely because I didn't live a life. I did not live a life whatsoever. All I did was train work. I didn't see my mates. I didn't see anyone external. I'd lost myself in the process. Yeah. And so I think with that's where I would sit in terms of the emotional regulation sector, that a woman can never change a man. And I really hope that the females can listen to this and understand that. Because I know you could probably say the same. You would know a female who would say, "Oh yeah, I'm not really ready for something," or they are ready and they go, "Oh yeah, but this guy, this that, he's showing this, but it's all good. I can change him." I know females who have done that and who are doing that, and it comes back to knowing your self-worth.
Yeah, definitely. I think what I've learned with relationships is if I tell myself I'm the problem and I have to take full responsibility, that was a part of going through a breakup last year. She gave me a list of like 50 different things that I fucked up with, and that hurt. And
that's toxic.
Yeah. And that was the ending of the relationship. And it hurt and it was toxic 100%. But then what I realised was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Now I can look at all of that and see what I think about those things that she sees in me and choose which ones I should actually work on.
But those things, they don't define you as a human.
No.
You know, people treat you and see you as a reflection of themselves. So she may have put things on that list. What's a reflection of herself?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I think when I hear something like that, that's the first thing I go to.
Yeah.
Is that's not you as a human. That's you how they see you.
Yeah.
Hurt people.
Yeah.
If she was a healed people, she would have helped. She would have healed you. Helped you heal. Sorry. I think there's a correlation of both parties being hurt here. So that just backs up that statement even more, right?
Yeah, 100%. I hear that. Hey, what I needed to make, basically, I got to choose what I agreed with, because I knew I was fucking hurt, and I was taken out on her. But learning how to logically think about something and taking responsibility and blaming myself for every single, like, where I'm at. It's all me. It's all my fault. Nobody else's. Like, being a dick to myself. But it created a sense of fuck you energy to myself. I need to be better. I need to do things that are good for me. I think the shadow side of self-development is that the hustle culture of get it done, sleep for 5 hours and wake up before your alarm comes on, man, and grind and work 27 days of the week and start a business and be in a good quality relationship and have a good relationship and then get rid of all your trauma while making sure you're making 10K a month. And if you're not making 10K a month, now you got to buy my course for $9.97.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, 100%.
It's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
So it's like realizing that I'm just a human. I'm not a machine. And it's okay to chill out and sleep in and not work every single day of the week. And what has helped and fast tracked that is just being present. Like this is the most present I've been in a while, bro. I'll tell you that.
Awesome. No, I can. That's something what I also learnt from the rough past few months. It's, the hustle culture, especially in sports. Fuck. You see all these videos. Yeah, like you said, get up before your alarm. Make sure you've worked out 3 hours before you go to fucking start a 6 a.m. job. Like David Goggins and all that stuff. I think some of that stuff is so toxic. And I was caught up on that. Yeah, I was getting up at 2:30 in the morning to cycle 3 hours before I was to go to work and work 9 hours a day and then come home and train for another 3 hours, right? That was all I did. And it's that I was so burnt out. And there would be days where I just sleep right through my alarms. Sleep for 12 hours just because of how fucking bagged. And now I'm like, if I can feel my body is not recovered, I'm so happy with, sleeping in. Am I going to do it every single day? No, because I have goals to achieve, but I'm aware of myself and I'm aware of my body that this is what I need to have the best output of my efforts and the best output into what I put out in the universe, into the world, into people, and even into myself. To help the relationships around me, I have to look after myself first and foremost. And that is, it is a tough pill to swallow, but I think, you have to go through these things in life for you to have these realizations. And like you said, I love it, man. The message and the mess, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
That, it's profound, man. It speaks for itself. Do you think that self-development it's an endless game? Or not a game, sorry, it's an endless journey?
Yeah, 100%, man. But there's the difference between choosing it to be an endless journey or just being on the path. Because people I've found, they'll be like ex-drug addicts or ex-sex addicts, or they would have gone through some really harsh shit and working with these guys. And it's like, cool, awesome. You've overcome and you've learned how to not be so involved with that area of your life, and they're coming out and it's amazing. And then they just become course addicts. It's like, I've done this breath work and now I'm doing Qigong and now I'm fucking doing runs and now I'm doing triathlon this weekend and like I'm doing sound healing now. And it's like, bro.
They make it their personality.
Yeah, man. And the best thing I've learned is like, cool, I'll attend an event, or I'll do a thing, I'll watch a podcast. Now, how can I implement that in my life now? I don't need the next hit. That's where it does become endless and expensive.
Yeah, it's not
bloody
cheap,
expensive.
Yeah, I get that too, and
Yeah,
like, you know, don't get me wrong, I do breathe work. Listen to podcasts. I watch videos on self-development. I intake information on how to be a better person. But that's not my whole personality. I can sit in a room with a bunch of, 10 people and just be a fucking child.
Yeah.
You know, I can go outside and just do handstands all day just because, and I think for a lot of the people, and especially in the space of what we were in, they make it their whole personality. It's like they come in and it's just this zen, I've done 4 hours of meditation this morning. I'm feeling alive. Like, you know what I mean?
bro, 100%. I'm just gonna feel into it.
Yeah.
Just hold on to. I don't know if that resonates.
Let's drop in to this one, but right, and
No.
it's real.
Yeah,
and like,
it's real. Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I could tap into that version of myself.
Yeah.
Right? I could sit here and do a breath work for 30 minutes, but I don't have to do it every day. I don't have to do it all day every day.
Yeah.
I can, if I want to go out and channel my inner child, I'll go I'll go on a trampoline or something and just do flips or something, right? So I think a lot of people in the space, and what we see with a lot of, niches, they make it their whole personality. Yeah. It's not that deep.
Yeah.
And, that's one thing what life has taught me recently. It's like, it's not that deep. Don't overthink it that much. It's all going to be all right. The thing you're going through right now, the struggle you're going through right now, it's not going to be the be-all, end-all. It's just chill out. Don't put so much pressure on yourself, because I know in the past I've done that and it's fucked me up. It's put my mind at such a rate that I couldn't even keep up with it. Yeah. And that's dangerous. That 100%. Is so dangerous, and same like, with the goals and the ambitions. Yeah, you can have all these goals and ambitions, but if you don't look after yourself in the first place, then you're not going to reach it. Yeah. You can have all these, self-development videos and stuff, but at the end of the day, if you don't channel it into a healthy way into your life, you're never going to reach it. So I think that's the biggest thing I can say to people who's living in a rush of their own state of environment. Is chill out. It's not that deep, and it's just crack a smile and laugh. Yeah. Sometimes that's all you got to do, to especially light up someone else's day. Crack a laugh, crack a smile.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think the best thing I've learned is, as men, we need to have some range, as in, like, I'm not just focused on business and I'm not just focused on feeling into it. Like, bro, there's somebody called Carl Jung, and he's created them. Have you heard of him? He's got the archetypes, the masculine archetype. So there's the king, the warrior, the lover, and the magician. And to put it simply, they're all just different parts of a man and how he works in the world. But to be loving and then do backflips on trampolines, and then to be like, I'm driven, I need to hit the gym and work on my goals, and then to go do some breath work. Like that, and doing our best to just be in harmony with all of that constantly. Yeah. Then we can communicate better with people. We can learn different things. We're not just rigid, like, I got to do business, goals, gym.
Yeah.
Like
100%. And that's literally what, when I was in that training phase, like, someone would message me, no, training, training, no, I've got to do this, got to do that. It was my personality. Yeah. And you gotta just take the brakes off a bit, brother.
Yeah. But I think, like, respect for it. That's the thing. We can be unbalanced, and I got a massive amount of respect for the guys who are unbalanced out of choice. Because for you to commit to X period of time to just work on you and just work on the triathlon aspect, fuck yeah, man. And I know that there's negatives that come from that, but it takes a lot of balls and a lot of responsibility to just do that, man. Like, people become unbalanced by accident, and you did it out of choice.
It's a good way to look at it. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it. You know, it was like, it wasn't even, I didn't even give myself a choice. Well, I did. At the end of the day, it's every action is a choice. But I followed through with it with such discipline. And, you know, I was up at 3 a.m. every single morning getting my training done before work. I don't want to fucking get up at 3 a.m. I don't want to be on the bike at 4 a.m. climbing a mountain in the fucking, you know, middle of the night. Like, I just want to sleep in, but I didn't because I was so robot. I wasn't human, man. I didn't live a life. I wasn't living.
Yeah.
I was machining, and I was a robot.
Yeah.
It's all I ever was. And so I think, you know, having the space recently and, you know, opening up and taking responsibility for the past X amount of months, it's helped me so much. Like, right now I am so happy. Like, I just love the way life is at the moment.
Yeah.
And I haven't felt like this for a long time, you know. Even, you know, when I started the podcast, this space, I was so stoked. Still, don't get me wrong, so stoked, but I think now going through what I have these past, you know, the past, you know, couple of months, it's made me realise how much, you know, I enjoy a slower paced environment and how I can get so much more done as well.
Yeah.
That's something what's been pretty heavy hitting for me.
Yeah, I still struggle with that, slowing down, eh?
Like, not to a point where I'll lay in bed all day, but
Yeah, of course.
you know, I'm not training 10 hours a day. I'm not working 9 hours a day as well, you know.
Yeah.
That's in that respect. And yeah, it's just like the person I am now, I'm not the person who I was back then. And I'm so happy for it. I'm so grateful. Like, you know, just living life. I'm just loving life. And, you know, things don't always get my way. I'm human. You know, we're human and we're constantly changing. We're constantly we're in such a fast-paced society.
Yeah.
It's sometimes hard to, you know, to keep up. So, yeah, in that respect, what do you think what's next for you, apart from Bali? What's the foreseeable future?
I want to make big impact, and how that looks for me is doing it in a place where we can connect. So it's great we're connected online, we've got all this stuff, but I feel like everyone is so much more disconnected nowadays than ever. So the mission that I have at the moment is to create a space in Bali and worldwide where we can have pop-up events for guys to come. We're going on adventures. In Bali, we've got our retreat in September, so hitting the trail bikes, bro, going on adventures, and then the polarity of that, coming in and learning how to level up, and then learning some mobility and movement and ways we can connect deeper with our body and the spirit, and just be again with some quality people. And to me, that is, I'll be honest, man, I want to make impact and I want to make a shit ton of money. When I can make a shit ton of money, I can make more impact.
Yeah.
It works in tandem. That's really the passion, and it's the drive is that I will be doing that without anybody. So if nobody turns up to an event, I'm still going to be on the motorbike and still doing cool shit.
Yeah,
I would just much rather people do it with me, and to create a ripple effect with that, man.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Look, man, I see your stuff online, and it's fucking sick to see. You know, you're doing great things. Just don't stop. Just keep being you, man. You fucking really are making an impact. Probably closing to the end of the episode here, but finish off with a few questions. If you could have one bit of advice for someone who is going through a tough time or a time of hardship, what would it be and why?
If we're talking about men, go tell your dad you love him. And the reason for that is because he probably hasn't heard it. And to deepen your relationship with your dad will be a way to deepen the relationship with yourself as well. And learn how to have more of an ability to respond to things in life and take it with a grain of salt. Like you said, man, it's all gonna be okay. Go have some fun, turn your phone off, let loose, go to the beach, go fucking dance in the middle of the street. Like, just have some more fun. Be a kid again. With respect to everybody else around you, man.
I love it, man. It's great words. Some more. What's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, we're going to go deep. My dad telling me to go ahead and commit suicide. Fuck. That was the worst piece of advice.
That's tough, man. I'm sorry to hear, bro.
We've got a really good fucking relationship now, man. So
Awesome, man. That brings a smile to my face. That's sick. Awesome, man. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
to be honest, bro, the same thing. Go ahead and kill yourself. And the reason why is because that helped me realise that the world isn't the best place. And it helped me realise that I need to start making some changes. And not everybody is going to be there to love me and save me all the time. I'll give you another piece of advice. It goes right back to taking responsibility, man. When I got told responsibility is the key to leveling up as a man. That changed everything. Absolutely every part of my life. And nobody's gonna come and do it for me. Never. And it makes life. It gets to be my life, and I'm able to take control and have some power behind what I do. And then it gives me more choice, which means I can help more people and have better conversations and make more impact in the world.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for coming on today, man. I really do appreciate time, and it's been an epic space to share with you. And just keep doing your thing, man. Keep changing lives, and I might see you on that retreat in Bali, brother.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate your time, man.